Hello everyone, and here I'm with my last Angry Birds movie set review, and what will be for next Throwback Thursday? Well, let's see. And so this one is on the King Pig's Castle from 2016. So on the front of the kind of large box here, we have the Lego Angry Birds movie logo, and red in the corner, and same border as all the sets. Same picture of the set that there is, all the minifigs included, and recommended ages is 8 to 14, set number 75826, and has 859 pieces. And now onto the back side of the box, having another view of the set, and the Lego logo, set number again, a website that is no longer active, and just all the main features of the set, and that's about it there. And now onto the instruction manual, which same picture as on the front to cover on the front of the box, everything, same border and everything. Well, this they oftentimes did, well, until mid-2022, of course. And on the back side, which, how to win on the online survey. And then all the pieces that come with the set. And then ad for the Angry Birds website from the time, and also how to launch the catapult feature, or comic strip for that, and then the last building step, so that, of course. And that is about it there. So first off, for the minifigs, is an exclusive variant of Red, well, a little extra exclusive for that, which does have more serious, angry eye look to that, and also a couple little dirt scuff, so that kind of like we had with Woody, Buzz Lightyear, Jesse, and Lotso in the Toy Story theme, back in like 2010. So kind of interesting seeing that going on here again, but at least for a different theme, that is. But aside from that, everything else is just the same as all the other versions and all the sets for that. And that's about it with Red. And now next to which is Foreman Pig, which same exact molding and everything as all the other pigs of the theme, but now with a different printing for that, which includes bushy eyebrows and mustache, well, ginger colored ones, well, at least interesting and nice to have a little variety. And no back torso printing, and that is it there. And next to which is Chef Pig, also the same thing, but now with a different printing, which includes both an apron and a French mustache, and holding a frying pan piece, kind of like we had with Bomber the Dwarf in the Hobbit theme that there was. And then also, and of course, wearing a chef hat kind of piece there. But is this kind of a different mold to that? Well, no, it's actually just an existing one attached onto a white fez piece in order to make it work on that. So without that, it just wouldn't sit onto there. So that clever use of that, but also make it a little extra funny, extended up. And then on the back side, which some good back torso printing, which to be the knot for the apron, and that is it there. And next to it, we have King Pig, which the face printing kind of similar to that of Leonard's that we had in the Piggy Pirate Ship set, but although which also workable with him, and also does have this extra piece for a crown for that, but well, extra wacky looking crown. But however, this piece in particular was also used in 2022 and 3 with the Avatar theme, but it was in different colors for that. But this was so glad to find this piece used here. But and of course, this theme was a rightful time to make some other new pieces for that. And then as for what he has, and of course has on this whole robe and cloak kind of piece, which goes over the traditional minifig arms. So, but likely you don't have to tear off the arms to get it onto there. But, well, if you get this set and look in the instructions, you would know that. So, however, nice to see that here, but unfortunately can't use it on any other minifigs aside from him. But yeah, and there it is from the back side and that side and there. And last but not least, and last for the figs, is actually Mighty Eagle, who of course is a big important part of Angry Birds, and also in the film voiced by Peter Dinklage, of course. So, and he of course a little extra large for that, a little larger than Bomb, of course, but however he which does have some unique molding to him, and of course nice and sturdy in there. And also, unlike the others, he has 2 removable wing pieces, of course. And like the others, his beak all rubbery and some nice printing for the eyes with a little bit of eyeshadow around it or whatever. And however, the sculpting and everything done quite well for him, and especially dual molding for both the top head part and for the tail feathers and the feet, which are probably printed, but however looks quite well and well captures his appearance quite from the movie. And as for a size comparison, is like next to Red here, which obviously a little larger than him, and to a regular minifigure almost as large. And since obviously only excuse for a big fig of this set, but yeah. And that is it with all the minifigs of this set. And first of which is this additional side build, which is of a catapult piece, and also built kind of similarly to that of the catapults that were included in most of the other sets, but luckily this one a little bit different. That now looks more like a slingshot. Well, with this archway, which is built with some snot techniques there, and also a couple of little technic bits in red, which to be like the rubber band part of a slingshot for that, and of course more fitting to that of Angry Birds as well. And of course you can like in the other sets, so you can just put a minifig and launch them right off. Still fun how that is, but yeah. But although with this have a little extra weight for that. And now here, which is the King Pig's castle itself, and quite large for how it is. It's hard to get all in frame, but however, there's and you wonder, is this attached together with that? No, it's actually in 2 separate segments, kind of like we saw with Helm's Deep in the 2012 Lord of the Rings theme, but however this for a different theme for that. Nice to see that, kind of alright seeing that going on with a separate theme, but whatever. So, but now how I'll be reviewing this is in the 2 sections, which is this upper section and the tower section. So here's the upper main castle section here, which for this front section, which has this little passageway that goes up into it, and with all these golden cheese slopes around it, and oh, whoops. So hang on, okay. And then also you have these sort of like little curved slopes that have these stickers on with pig noses and a crown, so fitting to that of King Pig. And also above is this tile piece that's supposed to look like a pig's nose, and also these stickered tile pieces with these little banners that show King Pig on a pile of eggs, which of course what the pigs have kind of taken from the birds. And then also this, which has kind of a hingeway with those A-shaped plates that there are, which probably sound like the Nindroid sub-theme of Ninjago and such. And of course these, which kind of looking similarly to some most castle sets, but now with the unique twist to it, with having some like lavender pieces in there, and also with the tan bricks in there. However, on one side of which does have this a little extra accessory. Well, there's actually these little pillars on both sides, but this switch has an additional feature of it. And here's how it is from the interior. Like, have this little ladder way that goes up into this little cart, and then if you tap on this, and then it would just launch right off for that. And here it is from the front view. And here, which is a little crate-like plane, which made from just a simple little crate, and also these tile with clips to act as little wings, and also to have a little sticker piece that is just the symbol for the pigs that there are, and or just a pig nose with a on a symbol, and also a couple of little paddle oar pieces, probably to be like back tail flaps of that, and also two little great jumpers in there, which to stand one of the pig figs into a course. And that is about it there. And now onto this upper tower part is that also with this set, there is a bit of like destructibility type of features to that, which you use the catapult with, kind of like with the super jumpers in the DC Marvel themes. But however, like I did in one of my previous reviews, just gonna show it with my hands, so not bother using the slingshot for that, or the catapult, of course. Like, do have a few bricks and plates stacked up to represent crates of TNT dynamite with these tile pieces that say that for that. And also you have this upper kind of little display section with both a with both a cupcake and a cup for that, and also this random little sign that shows a firework on it, and also a stand to stand a pig on, but also it's kind of with a couple of tile pieces on there, but you can just stand a pig on it, and also have these couple balloon pieces which were all new to this theme and were used in other themes since. And the feature with this one is if you can just launch a bird at it and it will just spin it around for that, so kind of nice how that is. And onto this other side, which so a little bit of symmetry throughout it, and this one side, which kind of just a random stand holding a basic boulder piece on it, but there's another one of that which I'll go over later, and kind of randomly stand there, and the long plate going inwards. And then upwards have a few of some of the same stuff, and also a random green plate on there, and also an extra little mini build for a small tower for that, and also with a white and purple balloon on there. And if you can just, and also tiles to stand a fig onto there, and then if you can like just, and if you watch one of the bird figs and then just knock that right over, which also quite fun and effective. But interior, which just quite vacant and barren for how that is, but yeah. And now that is about it with this section, and now onto the tower. And now onto the other part of it, which is the main tower, which quite simple, kind of close to like most castles of or tower parts of castles that there were. But of course with an Angry Birds movie twist to it, like with the slides and so on. Well, slide piece in brown, like we saw it in the 2013 Lone Ranger theme, and also some stuff at the bottom. But I'll just work from top to bottom. Like this upper top part here, which is just a few animal tail pieces in gold, and also diamond pieces also in trans green, kind of neat, and also the balloon pieces on the sides, and kind of a large platform kind of area, and also a little construction or Lego City construction beam part, which is for one of the main features of it. And it go downwards, and then also have these like little stickers that on these, or stickers on the sides of bricks to be like other bricks for that, and then some hollow spaces there, and then like downwards a little more of all that, and then also these like cupboard doors that you can open up. Oh, whoops. And then leads to just nothing. And also a like lavender or a tile piece and fence piece, and kind of a little standing area for a pig, of course. And then also a couple of golden cone pieces in there as well. And now onto this lower section, which all of which this platform is actually resting on a boulder piece. Kind of nice, interesting use and nice use of that piece, and also have a like little basketball hoop piece that goes down to this half a dome piece, but used as probably a cauldron, which, as you can tell by the flame pieces for that. And then also on the sides of which are these same pieces that were used for the wings of the plane set part, but with these to represent these large banners, but with forks on them. And then onto the inside of which we have a couple jumpers to hold little accessories, including the eggs, or these eggs. Oh, and also forgot to mention our couple additional accessories of it for that. And then kind of a little table-like area with a couple of cans of probably sodas, and you get studs, probably to be cookies or whatever. And that, so kind of a small interior space, and all held on with these extra large jagged slopes, but yeah. And that's about it there. And now onto one of the main features. And now onto the main feature of it, which if you have 4 of the egg pieces loaded up in this section, and if you launch one of the bird figs at the gold tail assembly, you just knock it over, and then the eggs are to fall into the slide. But however, with this little assembly, and not sure if it's me, but however, sometimes they get kind of stuck on this entry point for that. But however, you can just knock them over, and then the rest of which is down below, and the rest of it in here. Well, sometimes they kind of miss. But anyways, here. There. Got most of them in that time. So at least nice fun, but at least good fun feature, that is. It's kind of like we saw in one of the 2014 Ninja Turtles sets that there were, but yeah. And that's about it with the features, and now on to the verdict. So now for my overall verdict is, I think this was a quite really fun, good, and quite cool set for how it is, like, and probably the most representative of Angry Birds, where like with the catapult assembly, which kind of more resembling a slingshot for that, so obviously well fitting to the theme of Angry Birds, of course, and also has plenty of destructibility to that, and obviously that's well fitting to the app games that there are. And also, whereas for this castle assembly, I say, although it may be a little bit more wackier than like most castle builds that there are, but however, and of course, obviously a little bit more wacky, fitting to the Angry Birds theme. And also, whereas minifigs wise, I say it was quite great to include Mighty Eagle and obviously King Pig and a couple other random pigs. But however, this set was still quite good for how it is. I say, like, for the $90 that it was back in 2016, I say this was quite good value. Like, good playability, like with launching the birds and such. And also a good variety of the balloon pieces and so on, but yeah. And is it still workable nowadays? I say yes. And that's about it with this review. And And so now, for any of you who still have this set from back in the day, well, I hope you had some good memories of it. And for those of you who haven't and are still looking to get this set, I'd say definitely pick it up. eBay, Bricklink, Mercari, Bricks and Minifigs, whatever. And that's about it with this video. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching.